Welcome to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Cristian Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. And to our viewers at home, we're talking about the 10 tips for hiring a financial advisor. You're not going to want to miss today's episode. But Cristian, you and I were actually talking about date nights with our hubbies recently, and we talked about how restaurants will gear you towards things that are actually the highest profit for them. They actually have them in highlighted boxes. And it's interesting because your eyes will gravitate towards that box and you end up making a purchase that you don't even realize is off the charts expensive. Isn't that crazy?
It is. And they'll do that, or they'll do the lowest food cost to them. So the highest profit margin, right? On the item. And coming from the restaurant industry, which was eons ago for me, but that is originally where I started in business, I understand that a little bit, so I go against the grain on purpose usually.
Okay.
Or I'll call them out on it. Have you ever done that?
I have not. So what about the specials? Like, where do they play in line with this
They
cost?
don't even give you the price on the specials, right? You just have to decide you want it, right?
Yes.
And then you find out later that it was expensive. Where did we go one time I did that? I ordered a special, and it was like, and I don't spend a lot of money on food at restaurants, but I want to say it was like an $80 dish.
Yes.
And I got that bill and I was like,
yes, that
I guess
happened
I
to
better
me.
ask.
Yes.
Or the $65 plate of spaghetti that I got recently when we tried a different restaurant.
Yes, yeah,
It's like,
but
oh
it was
my
worth
goodness.
it. That was good.
That was
I don't
good,
know.
but I don't know. That made me choke after I saw it was $65 for a
That's
plate
why
of
you haven't
spaghetti.
taken me back.
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
Yeah.
But
So
we
it's
still
amazing.
we still like one of our favorite places, one of your favorite places.
True
Food.
Foods.
Yes.
Yes, and you get a delicious meal.
They keep changing their menu though.
Out at
They
Easton.
do.
But I love the cauliflower appetizer, that charred cauliflower.
Yes, their
Yes.
hummus.
This
The
is not a
hummus.
paid endorsement.
No, it is not. But
I love it.
I love the organic,
Simple
organic food that they have there.
And you feel good when you leave. Like, you don't feel like weighted down. Some restaurants you go to and you just feel like, oh, why did I eat
Roll
all
me
that
out on a
food?
cart, right?
You feel happy and healthy, and that's
Yeah.
what we
Yes.
love about it, my husband
Yes.
and I. So, but we could talk about this all day. I love date nights and talking about restaurants, but we're going to talk about the 10 tips for hiring a financial advisor. Where should we even start? What are some of the important things that people should be looking for? Cristian?
Yeah, number one is experience. Just like when you're deciding on what great restaurant to go to, and if you're going to pay premium prices, you want to have the experience behind it, right? You want to know
Absolutely.
that there's some know-how there. So making sure that there's experience, but then drilling down a little deeper and saying, okay, what is their experience in? Are they college planners, or are they based primarily with growing your wealth, or are they based primarily in the retirement phase in life? There's different advisors. So understanding where their experience lays, I think, is important.
Very important.
It really is. That is so important because if you get the wrong advisor, then they're going to have really a totally different mindset. And the problem with the different mindset, Cynthia, is what that can do. Because if someone is primarily experienced in helping people accumulate wealth, they realize that over time, if you are just diligent about putting money away every single paycheck, that dollar cost averaging going into your portfolio is really going to allow your money to grow over time. It just will.
Yeah.
Consequently, it can have the total opposite experience with the same investments if you're taking withdrawals every month.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So not understanding the impact that withdrawals can have versus just accumulating, we've seen it over and over and over again in our practice where people have come in and their retirement plan is devastated and they didn't change anything from what they did prior to retirement. All they did was start taking distributions. So that's why having that retirement planning experience is key for a successful retirement plan. So that's number one, experience.
Number two is fiduciary duty.
Yes.
And, that's become a buzzword. And all it means is it's the legal obligation for whoever you're working with to do what's in your best interest, right? And there's different areas that hold a fiduciary duty, but I think it's important to look beyond that and say, okay, what does that mean? So, of course, you should have the obligation to do what's in my best interest. You from being in the real estate industry, you should do that, right? And that's what everyone should do. However, not everyone does it. And I think it goes beyond that to even say, don't be afraid to ask the hard questions,
Yes.
the awkward questions that might leave the room a little silent. Why are you suggesting to me to buy this
that's
product?
an awesome question.
Or
That
why
is.
is it that you're suggesting that I invest in this
Yes.
thing? How does this fit into my plan? What benefits does it have for me? Ask those questions.
Absolutely.
And the answer should dictate whether or not this is the right advisor for you.
Yes.
Because they should have no problem answering those questions. And if they don't have a good answer, then maybe the reasoning isn't in your best interest. And
That's
I'm not
true.
saying that that's always the case, but they should at least have the experience to answer those questions properly for
Absolutely.
you.
And this is a tough one, but don't be afraid to ask how people get paid.
Yeah, that goes,
How do you
That
get
goes with
paid?
How are you compensated? Yes.
Exactly. I mean, are you strictly commission? Do you benefit when I don't benefit? So there's many advisors that just charge a flat rate fee every single month. Well, those advisors have no skin in the game. If you don't do well, they're still getting the same monthly amount, the same amount. It doesn't matter to them if you do well or you don't. I mean,
Well, it may
still
matter,
It may
but
matter,
yeah.
but it doesn't affect their compensation.
Financially, yes.
Right? So also, are you making these suggestions because you're going to earn another commission? And why is that in my best interest? Someone could make a commission and it still be in your best interest, but you need to understand why. And then beware of aggressive sales tactics.
This is so big. I mean, we were just in a clothing store. Cynthia, we enjoy shopping, both of us do, right? We don't
Absolutely.
make any bones about that.
You shop until I drop.
And actually, we joke, but he's the worst of the two of us. He buys most of my clothes that
I
you see
resemble
me
that
in on the
comment.
show. But you're making me go off the train track. So we were in a store, and I won't say the store because I like this store, but this guy was so aggressive. He's like, taking stuff out of my hand and asking me if he can place it at the register.
No.
And I'm like, hold your horses there, Nellie. I mean, I got to decide if I'm going to carry it around,
Yes.
feel it a few more times, make sure the price is right. Give me a minute to
Yes.
breathe, right? And it turned me off. And I'm like,
does.
you know what? I don't even want to work with you.
Yes. I
You're
know what you
assuming
mean.
the sale before I even decide I like it, right? Give me a
Exactly.
minute to breathe. And so I think the same is true. In the conference room, when it comes to financial planning, it's a hard topic to talk about. A lot harder than deciding on a dress, right?
Absolutely.
This is your hard-earned money that you've worked your whole life to accumulate. It's okay to take a minute and breathe and decide if this is a fit to work with or not.
Yes, and how can you tell if an advisor is being overly aggressive? And I think this is really a key point here, is if you're being asked to make a decision immediately upon
spot.
getting the information, like
Yeah.
right on the spot, to me, that's overly aggressive.
Absolutely.
I mean,
too much.
Kristen will tell you, I overthink things. I won't buy a microwave without going home and thinking about it. So I certainly wouldn't expect someone while they're sitting in our conference room hearing the solution to their problems.
You got to process it and live in the moment a few minutes and decide if it makes sense.
You absolutely do, and you're making a decision with your life's savings.
100%.
So in my mind, there's no way a decision should be made without somebody getting the opportunity to go home and sleep on it,
Yeah.
I agree.
and have the ability to formulate questions so they can make sure that that decision is in their best interest. I think that's a key.
Absolutely. It definitely is. Well, Greg, you and Kristen have a very special offer to present to our viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is before we open the phones.
Well, we want people to feel comfortable and confident that their retirement is on track. And we do that by offering what we call the complete planning review. And that complete planning review is really designed to help people see if anything is slipping through the cracks, whether it be in investments, with where they are in life versus the way they're invested, if they have a solid written income plan, if they've got a strategy for future taxes, for health care, and whatever's left over, getting to the people they love as efficiently as possible. So that complete planning review, no obligation here. We're just trying to help people find out, is anything slipping through the cracks in my planning?
Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 614-336-7660. You are calling in today for the complimentary complete planning review. Are you on the right road for retirement? If not, wouldn't you want to know today? Again, this is no obligation. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call in 614-336-7660 or grab your smartphone, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to the landing page for Legacy Retirement Group. You can claim your time with Greg and Kristen accordingly. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're talking about the 10 tips for hiring a financial advisor. We have several more to get through. Stay tuned.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter, the one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Cristian Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we're talking about 10 tips for you to hire a financial advisor. Now, what we've already gone through is, number one, experience specifically with retirement planning, very important. Number two, it's important to be a fiduciary. Number three, understanding how they get paid, steering clear of overly aggressive sales tactics. We're going to continue on with number four. Kristen, I'm going to take this to you. Focused on understanding your retirement goals. How important is it for someone to be focused when they're a financial advisor?
Yeah, I mean, not every family is the same. I mean, we might in 1 week meet with a family that's really keen on traveling for the retirement. We might in the same week meet with someone that doesn't care anything about traveling and just wants to give to their favorite charity or travel with their grandkids or whatever it is. Every family is very unique. And so finding an advisor that speaks into that doesn't just try to plop a plan onto your lap that is what they gave 50 other families, I think is really, really important in deciphering that when you meet with someone. You can learn pretty quick if you're paying attention and you know to look for that.
And you know, Kristen, we had a gentleman in the office about 3 weeks ago, and he came in and he said, my number one concern is with taxes. He said, I'm telling you this because I met with another advisor a few weeks ago, and I told him my number one concern was taxes. He analyzed my portfolio and told me how bad my portfolio was and how much better his was, but he never talked about taxes.
Interesting.
So the first thing we did was we pulled up the software we use and we did a RMD report and tax map for him. And so we spent the first hour just talking about the possible tax problem and what that would mean when he had to take required minimum distributions, how that could impact his income, how that could impact what's called IRMA, paying more for his Medicare Part B and Part D. And so these are things that we were looking at. We spent the rest of the time looking at some other things. When he came back in for the second meeting, we had some solutions with a Roth conversion strategy for him to really talk about that. And then we did look at his other things, but in line for how that could impact his number one concern, which was taxes. And when you pull together a plan that's based on what people truly want and truly need. Now, sometimes people need to see the other things that are slipping through the cracks that they're not aware of. If I go to the doctor for an annual checkup, I want him to, check on everything. He's going to do some blood tests. He's going to do some blood work. He's going to make sure that I'm healthy in general. He's going to test for things like cancer and things like that that could be devastating. And ultimately, what we decided was we were going to start a Roth conversion strategy, that he did need some help with his portfolio in regards to taxes and performance. But the number one thing we had to address was the reason he came in, and that was taxes.
Absolutely.
So make sure that whoever you're working with is willing to listen to what you have to say and willing to talk about what's important to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so critical.
Yes.
Absolutely. The next one Income is a priority. Let's talk a little bit about that. A good advisor should help you create a sustainable income strategy, because that's still the number one fear, Kristen, is it not? People are going to run out of money in their retirement.
That is. I mean, that's a fear for everyone all over the country, if not the world. Income should be the first part of the conversation. Now, does income always need addressed? No, it doesn't always need addressed. Sometimes there's plenty of income there, maybe in dividends, maybe in a pension, Social Security. Once you add all those things up, there's enough income there, and then your focus is on something else, or maybe the goals are laying somewhere else. But income should be the first priority in making sure that you know where that money is going to come from, that it's accounted for with inflation. And we're so blessed in this country for that to be a concern, that we can live the rest of our days with the money we saved. I got the privilege of, this is a segue, but I got the privilege of going to Guatemala at the end of the summer. And just talking about this popped in my head just now is that, those people in some cases are working every day for the income they need for tomorrow.
Yes.
And we have the benefit and the privilege of having things at our disposal to plan for the entire future of our lives when they barely can plan for one day at a time. So it's important to be a good steward of that opportunity that we have.
Well, you take for granted even the blessing of having a refrigerator filled with food. I mean, think about that. It really puts everything in perspective when you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think part of when we're trying to find that right advisor and we're talking about income, can they provide for you a written plan that gives you confidence, that gives you peace of mind, and where you can see the wherewithal, how it's going to last the rest of your days? That's really the key there. If you can't see how your income's going to last, you don't know, then there's always this angst whenever the market's doing bad things. Am I going to be okay? Am I going to have enough? When we hear, political things and all these things that make us nervous, if you have a written plan that shows you how you're going to be okay, it can give you the confidence. And that's really the key. Get the advisor that has the plan that gives you confidence.
Well, and I think that goes into the next one, age-appropriate risk management and investment strategy. I think we should hit on that, because, so many times when we have people come into the office and do a review of where they stand, their risk is so much higher than they expected it was. Or maybe they realize, this doesn't feel as good as it did when I was in my 30s and 40s. Right. I don't like these market fluctuations. So really honing in on that is important too.
Right, and the way you do that, Cynthia, is it's not about am I conservative, moderate, or aggressive. Those to me are too broad of strokes. To me, it's, okay, we're going to measure a risk level between 1 and 99, and it's really based on a series of questions. I call it the financial eye exam in the office, where, okay, which looks better to you, this one or this one? And what we're asking them to look at is how much the portfolio can drop versus how much the portfolio can gain. And what's your true comfort level? So we'll ask a series of questions, and we'll ask it again, and we'll ask it again, and we'll ask it again to help them find that spot that feels the most comfortable. That generates a risk score. And maybe that risk score is 50, maybe it's 60, maybe it's 30. But ultimately, we want people to know that the portfolio that's built for them is right in line with how they feel.
Amazing. Thank you both so very much. It's time for our next commercial break. To the viewers at home, there's a number to call on your screen. That number is 614-336-7660. What you're calling in for today is the opportunity to have your very own complete planning review. Let Greg and Kristen know where you stand on your path for retirement. If you need to make any adjustments, any changes, the time is now. You've worked your entire life to get to the retirement years, and you deserve to have peace of mind in your retirement. That number again is 614-336-7660. If you don't have a pen handy, that's okay. You can grab your smartphone, click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to the landing page for Legacy Retirement Group, and you can claim your spot accordingly. You deserve it. You've worked very hard to get to those retirement years. The number, 614-336-7660. We're talking all about the 10 questions you should be asking when you're hiring a financial advisor. We have many more to get through. Stay tuned.
We know the market is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks took a major hit.
My investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the fourth worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. I'm Cristian Taylor with Legacy Retirement Group. If you've amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. This is one of the greatest tax windows in history. Now is the time to take advantage of this tax discount while you can. We specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and much more. Plan your retirement right. Call now for your portfolio review and tax analysis.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Cristian Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we're talking all about 10 tips to consider when hiring a financial advisor. We're going to jump right into this next one. Greg, how important is it to talk about knowledge of tax implications? Number 7.
I think it's really a key if the person that you're wanting to help you get through retirement doesn't understand how taxes can impact your retirement. I think that's a major red flag.
Absolutely.
Especially something as simple as IRMA. IRMA has to do with income and how it can affect your Medicare Part B premiums and your Medicare Part D premiums. So someone that may be advising you to do things like Roth conversions, if they don't understand that it's not just income tax, but it's extra premium on health insurance, and that they don't call that a tax, but essentially it's based on our income. So in my mind, IRMA is a tax.
Okay.
So we need to have the knowledge of all those things. How can it impact my Social Security benefits? All those things are part of knowledge when it comes to taxes and retirement. What could it cost me to defer or delay? This is where I suggest anyone watching today just go to our website and go to testmyretirement.com. Look at what your future required minimum distributions might be, how that could impact your taxes. Just going there to testmyretirement.com can give you some knowledge to be armed with, just so they can be aware of what taxes could be as a part of their retirement. So I think that's huge.
Absolutely, Greg. Thank you. Cristian, this next one, Social Security. Let's talk about that. That's a big one.
It is. I mean, it's income that you have in retirement, and understanding the claiming strategy that fits your situation best is important, whether you take it early, you take it at the standard age, or you delay it. Those options are all based on a family's individual needs. Now, a lot of times we say, if you're going to be spending your money, then go ahead and claim that Social Security. But we'd want to see the overall situation in order to move forward with understanding what is most appropriate, and also integrating those dollars into your overall income plan.
Absolutely.
Segmenting those dollars out and understanding what you're getting from where and when to use for what, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of ifs there. So understanding all those things are really important.
Cristian, thank you. Number 9, I should say, clear investment strategy. Number 9.
Yes, in our office, we use what we call the 3-bucket approach, where we believe there needs to be a portion of the money in the liquid, available, we call it the sleep well at night money bucket.
Yes.
That's for emergencies, needs, and wants. Then your income bucket. We want you to have the income you need, so we want to use the least amount of money possible to generate that income. So you have all the income you need plus money in the bank for emergencies. Now you're kind of set. So that leaves the growth bucket, which we want to fill within your investment risk score. So we got the right amount of risk versus return in your growth bucket. We've got the income you need to sustain your retirement, and now we've got emergency money. When you have that type of strategy, we believe that can provide a lot of confidence moving forward. So whoever someone works with, they need to understand their strategy. How are you going to manage my assets? Are you going to have it all at risk? What are you going to do with it?
Absolutely. And Cristian, we touched on this one earlier. Are they a good fit? How do you feel when you're sitting with someone?
That's such a big, important part of the whole
100%.
situation and conversation, because, this is someone that you're going to work with for 20, 30 years, maybe even longer in your retirement days. And making sure that that relationship is comfortable and you're confident in the person that you're working with, you're confident in their knowledge base, you're confident that they understand your wants and needs, I think is really important. It goes to show, I mean, it's a relationship, just like you have with your husband or Greg and I have, or a friendship that you might have with someone. It's a relationship. And that feeling you get is just as important as all the other pieces to the puzzle.
And it's not usually about good and bad. You know, if I go to Macy's and I try on a sweater and that sweater doesn't feel right, it doesn't make it a bad sweater. It just means it isn't the right fit for me.
Right.
So if someone is overly aggressive, maybe that doesn't make them bad, but maybe just not that comfortable fit that you're looking for. Or if somebody doesn't know enough about taxes or Social Security, they don't really understand retirement issues. They don't know how to give you guidance with IRMA and some of those other things. They don't really understand how to create a written income plan that gives you confidence. Doesn't make those bad people. It just means that they may not be the right fit for where you are in life. You know, I don't eat a lot of steak. So Kristen and I joke, when we go to a steakhouse, I order chicken.
Steak.
You know?
Right.
I order chicken. So she loves going to some of those restaurants. So I go because she likes it. But what do? I order chicken. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you know. So for me, I find a way to make it work. But we don't want people to have to find a way to make it work. It should be natural. It should be comfortable, and really, it should address the 5 core areas of retirement. That's really how you know it's a fit. So someone gives you the investment strategy that makes sense for where you are in life. You can just feel it. You know, you see the sense. You see how it's benefiting you. And then they create that income strategy that shows you how you're going to pay the bills, how you're going to keep pace with inflation, how you're going to be okay. So you're not going to outlive your resources. You're going to be able to pay your bills the rest of your days because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
A tax strategy that makes sense for you, whether it be converting to a Roth or helping you perhaps lower the tax rate on your Social Security benefit, those types of things that are all part of tax strategies. Now, bear in mind, we're not CPAs. We're not accountants. We don't do that. We have professionals that we work with to help families there, but we do understand strategies. Healthcare. You can't overlook healthcare.
True.
Healthcare could cost you over $200,000 in retirement, and we want people to be prepared. So all those things, part of that complete planning review.
Absolutely. Kristen, thank you so much. And Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 614-336-7660. You deserve to have peace of mind in your retirement years. Don't miss the opportunity to call in today. Again, thank you for spending time with us on Winning Retirement TV with Greg and Cristian Taylor. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We'll see you back 1 week from today. Take care now.